Good morning and welcome to Unity of Kalamazoo. We're glad you're here this morning, and if you're not with us physically and you're watching online, we're glad to have your presence as well. A little change up of our clientele up here, but we have Carolyn Keeble, our drummer for today, and she's going to be playing a little guitar for special music, right? Yeah, very exciting. And then welcome back Cam Taylor on bass today in place for John. My name is Brent Decker. Music director, and we're going to get things started with our praise music this morning, Gathering in Song and Weave. So please join us. Thanks again for being here.
Please stand and join me in song. Welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of spirit wide. We are walking in the light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. There is abundance in our fellowship. This is a place we all belong. We place our trust in this great holiness. This is the moment. Welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. There is a promise in our thankfulness. We know that when we seek, we find. We place this trust in this great holiness. This is like
Good morning. I'm Joe Daly. I'm your platform person today, and it's my first time. So, thank you to the music team and all the other persons that helped put on this service, including PowerPoint, streaming video, audio, our ushers, hospitality, and script. As a reminder, now would be a good time to invite your phone into the silence. If there are any visitors here for the first time, we would like to welcome you. There is a yellow card in the pew in front of you, and if you could return that or fill it out and return that to an usher, we have a small gift bag and we will welcome you. So thanks for joining us. We have a few announcements. Town hall meeting today after the service. And on the 7th of May, Walk as One, meet at the Labyrinth, 12:45 for the Walk at One. And Unity Musicians and Friends, there's a concert, including Ronnie and Brent and Carolyn and John? Yeah. And then Reverend Greg Coles on the 14th in the Fellowship Hall, and we'll begin the process of finding our next minister through that. Now, please join me in our mission statement. Give me a break, man. As an all-inclusive community, we awaken to spirit, grow into our soul, and build a better world. Our vision? We celebrate a world of ever awakening consciousness, abundance, peace, and love for all. And our core values: love, authenticity, stewardship, oneness, and playfulness. So today our special guest speaker is the Reverend Judy Pilot. For most of you, she needs no introduction. But did you know that she almost didn't make it to kindergarten? For the first 6.5 years of her life, she was the only human child in the household. However, her best friend was Ricky, otherwise known as Baron von Richthofen. Yes? Ricky was a boxer that had arrived a few months before Judy did. They grew up together and they were inseparable. On that first day of kindergarten, Judy assumed that Ricky would be going along with her to school. With the strength of will that only a 6-year-old can muster, Judy refused to go without her pal. Until Mr. Pilot made it clear that staying home was not an option. Judy went, Ricky stayed home, but not without a lot of whining on both parts. So, Reverend Judy, we are grateful that you completed school, both kindergarten and ministerial, and that you are able to be here with us today.
Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other. But we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments, playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key. But we are all playing in harmony, in one great symphony. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. A moment ago, still we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets the Christ in thee, in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
Thank you, Barbara and Paul. So the word for today is gather. As I gather with others in the spirit of love and peace, my awareness of God's presence becomes more powerful, even palpable. Together, we create an energy, a vibration greater than any one of us alone. I am comfortable and at ease when I notice our differing appearances, preferences, backgrounds, and opinions, because I am reminded of the limitless diversity of divine expression and my place in it. When I join in fellowship with my family, friends, and all others who are dear to me, each of us becomes a mirror for the others. We see in one another the divine presence that lives in and expresses as every person. The unifying energy of divine love unites and binds us together. In this love, we are one. And from Psalm 133, verse 1, how very good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. And so the affirmation for today is, we gather and magnify the presence of God. I'll say that one more time and then we'll go through it together the third time. We gather and magnify the presence of God. Together, we gather and magnify the presence of God. And so as we take these thoughts of how the vibration differs when we come together and reflect that light back to each other, I invite you to begin to relax into that vibration. To take a nice deep cleansing breath in, just let it out. And I invite you to close your outer eyes if you are comfortable in doing so. And thinking about what it means for us to gather as a spiritual community, what I'd like you to do right now is to just be centered where you are. And I want you to send thoughts of loving kindness to all of the people who are seated in front of you. And send thoughts of loving kindness to everyone to your left. Breathe in peace and love, and send that vibration of loving kindness to everyone to your right. And as we take another nice cleansing breath in, we focus that energy of loving kindness to everyone who is behind us. Now visualize that loving kindness energy, that vibration, forming a circle of light around you. A circle of light that embraces every dear soul in this room. And a circle of light and a vibration of loving kindness that extends beyond this building out into our Kalamazoo community. And spreads that light and love to every corner of our nation. To heal the division, to heal the inequity, to bring a greater peace of sense, a sense of peace and unity into our consciousness as a nation. And I invite everyone in this room right now to send a current, a vibration of loving energy across the ocean. To embrace and hold close the people of Ukraine who are suffering and hurting in this incredibly difficult time. And as you simply feel yourself surrounded by and absorbed into that loving energy, that vibration of unity, I invite you to hold those thoughts and feelings close in your heart. And to take them to that secret place within where we feel again that divine presence moving in us, through us, and as us. And just embrace that vibration now for a few moments in the silence. we gather together and magnify the presence of God. And we send our love over the oceans, over the mountains, across this land, and it returns to us. So as you gently bring your attention and focus back to this place, I'd like to just affirm our scriptural reading one more time. How very good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. Amen. And so we let it be.
I didn't do my due diligence this morning in introducing our song leader, Barb Galati, and this is Paul Marquis as our special music. Sorry to interject there, but they're wonderful.
Sunshine in my eyes can make could tell you. I tell a tale sure to make you smile. If I had a wish that I could wish for you, I'd make a wish for sunshine all the while. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Sunshine almost all the time makes me high. Sunshine almost always.
Thank you. That was just lovely. And so appropriate. We finally got the sunshine we've been waiting for yesterday, right? Boom. Happy summer. We've got a lot to get to today, so I'm going to get about it. But I have to take a moment to extend my thanks to Reverend Larry Hooks, who was our guest speaker last Sunday. It was my turn to come and sit and be ministered to. And what a wonderful experience it was. What his beautiful song and his very, very creative and thoughtful message was just spot on. And I'm very grateful that he was here. He was the right person to have for Easter Sunday, absolutely. So, onward. What happens after resurrection? There are two key concepts that I want to explore with you today. And the first of those is the meaning of resurrection. And then the second is the idea of renewed commitments. So the metaphysical interpretation of resurrection is the restoring of the mind and body to their original undying state. Now, as I've been thinking about this and working on this talk for the last couple of weeks, I totally get the idea of restoring the mind and the body. As an example, we all know the healing and restorative powers of a good night's sleep, and how we can sometimes feel like the walking dead when we don't sleep well. That was me last night. It was too hot in the house. But I did not sleep well last night. Many of us have worked on restoring furniture or bringing a garden back to life, or losing weight and increasing our level of activity. And so I totally get the many meanings of restore. But what I wrestle with in this metaphysical definition is the word original. What does it mean to restore the mind and body to their original, undying state? Does it mean we have to go back to the very beginning? You know, like Candyland, where you have to go all the way back to start? Are we completely starting over from square one without the benefit of everything we've learned along the way? When I spoke here for the very first time last November, I shared with you the idea that we have consciously chosen to come into this incarnation, and that we are born, and the minute we're born, we forget everything we knew, right? And then we spend our whole life experiencing both blessings and lessons that help us remember who we are and why we came. So I wouldn't want to go like that back to an original state. Generally speaking, I would much rather begin again than start over. And I realize that there's probably a whole lot of nuance and semantics that are kind of wrapped up in that. But for me, it's an important distinction. The difference between beginning again and starting over. And I always kind of like to frame things by starting with the definition, okay? So while the revealing word does not have a metaphysical definition for the word original, I did some further review of Fillmore's writing on the subject, and he also has another passage where he says that the word resurrection suggests that there has been a falling short of the divine standard that necessitates being restored and revived. Now, when I read that word revived, I immediately thought about what happens when somebody faints or passes out. In order to revive them, we can shake them, raise their legs up above their head to increase blood flow, splash some water on their face. We can yell their name. At sporting events and athletic competitions, they always have smelling salts, which has a really strong odor of ammonia. So if somebody faints, they can break open that little tube and put it under the nose, and that usually wakes them up. So then I was intrigued a little bit more, and I looked up the definition of fainting. And I have to admit that this one is also very helpful, and it's like super relevant to this conversation. Because fainting is described and defined as a sudden, temporary loss of consciousness. That kind of fits, doesn't it? So, if we take both of these concepts, the idea of restoring and the idea of reviving, as they relate to a loss of consciousness, we can now see that resurrection is the process of bringing us back to our senses. It's the reawakening of our Christ consciousness and restoring us to the health and wholeness of our divine nature. Puts us back in a place where we can live from the inside out again, right? So if we lose our connection to our Christ consciousness, we have to restore that signal. We have to revive that flow of divine ideas. We don't have to go all the way back to square one and start over from scratch. But resurrection enables us to begin again, to renew our commitment to living from that Christ consciousness, just as our master teacher demonstrated to us. So that then brings me to the second idea that I wanted to share with you, and that's the idea of renewed commitments. Now, at the time that I was invited to help out here with some of the guests speaking at the church, I had just begun to start searching for opportunities to serve the Kalamazoo community at large. And I was looking specifically for opportunities to work on issues related to income inequality, generational poverty, and discrimination. And since I started helping out here and filling in, I've shared with several people that the opportunity to help out here during this time of transition feels kind of like a do-over of my ministry experience in Madison. And my intention in using that phrase do-over is to convey that I'm doing something I've done before, but hopefully this time even more effectively. You know, it's kind of like a mulligan in golf. You know, you hit a shot that kind of misses the mark, but then you hit another ball from the same place, and hopefully you get a much better result. So when I look back over the last 5 to 6 months, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to recommit to ministry by speaking on Sundays, facilitating some discussion groups, and providing whatever guidance I can to support this community during this time of transition. But I'm still also very much committed to exploring what I can do in our greater community. What can I do with the power that I have? So, as I continue to contemplate and reflect on who I have come here to be and to discern what is mine to do, I have been blessed with the opportunity to participate in several workshops that have been sponsored by some of our local nonprofits. And I've been in some really good company because coincidentally, several other members of our community and 2 of our board members have also chosen to participate in some of these workshops. And I have to tell you that personally, I have experienced some very profound awakenings and insights in these sessions. And as I wrap things up this morning, I want to share 2 of them with you. Both of them come from a workshop that was offered by Erase. It's a local organization that was founded like 20 years ago. And their name is an acronym for Eliminating Racism and Creating and Celebrating Equity. The first thing that absolutely knocked me upside the head and really got my attention and grabbed me by the heart is their land and labor acknowledgement. And they shared this right at the beginning of the workshop as part of the housekeeping. You know, here's our agenda, here's our goals, here's the housekeeping. I want to read this to you because I think it's enormously powerful. Land and labor acknowledgement. We honor and pay our respects to the land on which we live and work, which was violently stolen through colonialism, genocide, and forced removal of its traditional stewards. These stewards are the Council of the Three Fires, which include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi, also known as the Ottawa, Chippewa, and Potawatomi tribes. We also acknowledged the people of African descent who were forcibly removed from their land, kidnapped and separated from their families through kidnapping and enslavement, and we pay reverence and respect to them for building this country's infrastructure and economy with no compensation and reparations to date. Now, there's some tough language in there, but at the heart of this, for me, it's like, well, of course, this is true. This always belonged to somebody else. And many of the people who were brought to this country had no choice in the matter. So that was aha and big awakening number one for me. The second thing that I want to share with you that they shared with us are some definitions of racism that they use to establish a common language. And we all know that common language is a precursor to dialogue and problem solving. So racism is not individual prejudice. We almost all have some sort of individual prejudice because that's the way our brain works. Our brain immediately homes in on whatever is different and then assesses as to whether or not that's a threat. So racism is not this individual prejudice, but racism is the collective action of a dominant racial group. And systemic racism occurs when organizations and institutions are used to limit power to some based on race. And of course, probably the most classic example of that is redlining in the insurance industry and when it comes to financial lending and giving mortgages from financial institutions. So those were very, very powerful awakenings for me. And another thing that I learned is that anti-racism work is not about blame and shame. Its goal is healing and equity. And while I'm pretty sure that I am not a racist or a bigot, but when it comes to implicit bias, I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. But I do know that I am committed to learning, because when I know better, I can do better. I also now understand that it's not enough to be neutral. For years, I have heard and I have said, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. But I'm almost embarrassed to say that I just learned that the person who said that is Eldridge Cleaver. We get to healing and we get to equity by opposing racism and promoting racial tolerance. The solution to racism is anti-racism. And when I think about that, where I land with that is it stands to reason that that would be the solution, because we also know that the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil over good is for good men to do nothing. So, what happens after resurrection? For me, and I hope for you, we restore and revive our Christ consciousness, and we recommit to bringing more light into the world, more love into the world, more good into the world, and more God into the world. Have an amazing week. Thank you.
I think I need Vanatina. Which fellow would you like? You got it. Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Reverend Judy, for that message. Thank you for sharing what you're doing and what you're learning, and I can't say enough about it, so thank you. Today is Volunteer Sunday, for the most part. I want to take a moment to celebrate our many volunteers. And I would like all those volunteers that helped in the highway cleanup yesterday to please stand. And especially Betsy Valentine, who has led the charge. And please stand if you've ever helped in the highway pickup before. And keep standing. And please stand if you've helped with the fall and spring cleanups around the church. How about if you have volunteered to help with the youth program that we just resurrected last week? Please stand if you've helped decorate the sanctuary or upstairs for Bountiful Feast. Or please stand if you've helped on Bountiful Feast in the past. PowerPoint. If you've ushered before, if you've done pews, pockets and pews, and cleaned up, taken care of the plants. How about script? How about our song leaders? How about our pastoral care team? That's you, Claire. And I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, so please, if you volunteered and helped out in this church, please stand. I know you guys have helped out many times. All of you have. And there's always room for more. We have lots of volunteer opportunities coming up. So thank you, everyone, for helping out. We couldn't do it without you. Now that brings me to our next process here. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous today. A little strung out on coffee, too, I think. Anyway, as board president, it is my honor to announce the recipients this year of the Myrtle Fillmore Awards. And every year, or almost every year, COVID slowed us down. We recognize those who have gone the extra mile and have shown a great willingness to serve, sometimes going beyond what was asked. Mostly they do that, and this year is no exception. Our first recipient, which I need my helper here, I need you to take this and not reveal it until the proper time in front of your face. Our first recipient has been dear to our hearts this year. They've been a pillar of volunteerism at Unity and have given a lot of their time and talent for over 40 years. From prayer group to ushering to, until COVID hit, of course, to stuffing envelopes and birthday cards, always available to help with sewing projects like this curtain behind me to hide the risers. Bountiful Feast, they're the one that always went out to the farm to get the turkeys to provide for us. By now, you have probably guessed that our first recipient today is the late Suzanne Skipper. We had planned to honor her last fall. We had already decided that she was going to receive this year. And unfortunately, as you all know, she is no longer with us. But we know she's watching from somewhere with the other prayer ladies. And we just thank you, Suzanne, for your leadership, for being a role model in volunteerism here at Unity, and your playful spirit will not be forgotten. We told the family about it. We asked if they could be here, but they were unable to, so we have a certificate that we will send their way. Thank you. I need you to stay, though. I need my support. Okay, our second recipient is someone who does a lot behind the scenes. You may not see all the things that they do, but trust me, they've helped me personally a lot this past year. You may have seen them at our spring and fall cleanups, helping with building and grounds, or even on the highway cleanups. They work hard keeping us on track and moving us forward, and they even volunteer their voice in the choir. And as song leader sometimes. You may have an idea who I'm talking about, but did you know that when they were younger, they went to New York to study opera and theater? And a favorite memory was when they played the witch, Hansel and Gretel, on an off Broadway play. And the director thought it would be fun if they dressed as Jackie Kennedy in her pink suit with a pillbox hat. I couldn't be here without his help. Paul Marquis, will you please come and accept this award? Now you know why I had to have Vanna up here.
My wedding coordinating days.
Will you put the face and we'll get a picture? Got it? Thank you. I will present this to you. Hang on the wall. All right, you are up to bat.
One more time for Paul and Suzanne. I'm Tina Jackson. I'm a board member, and please join me into the board affirmation. I am a center of love, one with God. I am the flow and vitality of life. Now, as the ushers come forward, please take out your love offerings and join me in the offertory blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. With us at the town hall meeting after church. Like how I brought that all back together? Gather with us.
Everything has its season, everything has its time. Show me a reason and I'll soon show you a rhyme. Cats fit on the windowsill, children fit in the snow. Why do I feel I don't fit in anywhere I go? Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. Every man has daydreams, every man has his goal. People like the way dreams have of sticking to the soul. Thunderclouds have their lightning, nightingales have their song. And don't you see, I want my life to be something more than long. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky. So many men seem destined to settle for something small, but I won't rest until I know I have it all. So don't ask where I'm going, just listen when I'm gone. And far away you'll hear me singing softly to the dawn. Rivers belong where they can ramble. Eagles belong where they can fly. I've got to be where my spirit can run free. Gotta find my corner of the sky.
Another hand for Paul, please. So let us pray over the offerings. Sweet, sweet Spirit, we receive these offerings in loving gratitude. We are grateful for all of our blessings and for those who have given so generously today in person and those who give in so many other ways. May these offerings go forth and circulate throughout our world, bringing prosperity to all. Amen. So in a moment, we're going to sing the peace song to conclude the service. And you may notice that some people like turn around and look towards the back of the church, and some people look forward. And if you haven't been here for a long time, you may not understand what that's all about. But back in the day, that was the practice, that the front half of the church would turn around and look at the back half of the church. The idea being community rather than, paying attention to the teacher kind of thing. So do whatever you need to do, but that's what happens. So that beam over there, it's got a little piece of red crepe paper on it. That's the halfway mark. So I used to be a school teacher, so obviously I had to have my props ready. So let us say the prayer for protection. Rise. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us wherever our God is, and all is well. Yay, God! And as we sing the peace song, you may hold hands with your neighbor if you both so choose, or place your hand over your heart. But let's sing together the peace song.
Let Thank